Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These truths, enshrined forever in the Constitution, are the birthright of every American citizen. And while self-evident, for millions of Americans with disabilities, they are far from self-fulfilling. Many of our low-income neighbors living with disabilities experience limitations to their mobility. All too often, they must choose between their own homes and a nursing home, far away from friends and family. In New York State, the Division of Housing and Community Renewal has found a way to help our disabled neighbors regain their independence through a program called Access to Home. In both teeming cities and remote rural areas, disabled New Yorkers are receiving assistance to help modify their homes to promote their independence through a variety of adaptations and modifications. Their reclamation of independence has kept them in our communities and made us all richer and New York stronger. Ask them, and they'll tell you that the distance between confinement and freedom is often the length of a ramp.
Access to Home started several years ago when a group of independent living centers came to visit us in Albany, and they had identified a need for the consumers that come in to see them looking for services, looking for housing opportunities, people that were looking to move out of nursing homes. We've allowed them to live in their community safely, comfortably, and in many cases allowed people to enjoy the last years of their life in a very holistic way with their families, and I think that's a real benefit. It's a gift to the community.
Access to Home stepped in where there was no other program providing this very unique service. So we had people who could set up the services to get home. They had actually a place that they could go to, but they just simply didn't have the accessibility. And we were stuck trying to jerry-rig a solution with volunteers or donated materials. Access to Home changed all that for people.
It's a great deal of assistance to me. I don't want to leave my house if I absolutely don't have to. I did look into other facilities, other situations, and I find I come back to the same thing. I want to stay in my house as long as I possibly can.
Access to housing is something, and disability is something that could affect anybody at any time. I've heard it very coarsely said as, basically you're a bump on the head away from disability. But even if it's not you, it could be a family member. It could be the girl that you want to date is in a chair, and how are you going to get her into your place, essentially?
What people need is affordable, accessible, integrated housing. The accessibility piece for people who need accessibility is absolutely critical.
It made it easier because, well, with a wheelchair, I'm like running into things. So having the doorways widen helped me. Countertops lowered, so I don't have to reach up and cut things up here. They cut out the sink is a single basin and it's lower, so I can drive right up under it.
Oh, it's incredible. It'll save the state a fortune. No one wants to go to a nursing home. I've never met anybody that really wants to go to a nursing home. When someone falls, gets hurt, and they will fall or will get hurt, the odds are you will have break something or fall. You can't get back into your own home. And people who've been in their houses for 30, 40 years would rather spend their later years in their own home, not going to another facility.
Sure, Mr. Mustafa is a 34-year-old man with muscular dystrophy. He is in a wheelchair. The challenge here was to design and arrange the concrete so that he would have access up to the back doors.
Like I said, it's provides a tremendous service that you really can't put a value on it. I as a person who needs a tremendous amount of help, and as a person who has shopped around, there's no other program available of this type.
One of the things we have in New York is a good service system where people can get services in their homes generally, but the fact that you can't get in and out of your home becomes a huge barrier. Not only is it what people want, it actually ends up saving the state huge amounts of money in terms of long-term care costs.
Maureen Peony and her two daughters were living here, and their house burned down. They had a fire last year. They came to us for help, and so we put some grants together, and both daughters were injured, one of them very, very badly.
Well, especially the wheelchair ramp is going to be very useful because I'm going to be in a wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair most of the time. And it's going to be hard to walk up and down the stairs, but I'll do it. The shower is going to make it a lot easier every day for me to use the bathroom.
People wouldn't be able to make these modifications without a program like this. This program steps in and fills an incredible need for them, a need that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do on their own.
What do you think about the government doing things like this for people like yourselves?
I think it's a good thing, because if you can't afford it, I mean, this is the only way you can have it.
What do you think about the ramp?
I like it. It's a real improvement.
The average cost for a ramp that can run anywhere from $6,000 to $9,000.
What would you done without this program?
I really don't know. I really don't know. As expensive as things are, and I realize how much like the ramp costs in the bathroom, I wouldn't be able to take out a loan to cover them.
So how's that feel to be outside?
Feels wonderful. The sun, it's great. I really enjoy it. Just be able to get out.
I can't speak to much of anything that's being done nationally to do home modifications and improve existing housing stock. We have some initiatives around building better new housing, and even those haven't really taken flight very well. So I think in a lot of ways access to home is definitely ahead of the curve.
The name says it all, access to home. There's no place like home. We want to live at home. You know, we don't want to be separate. You know, let's think about stigma. People with disabilities have been separated, and that was okay. It's not okay anymore. We need to be included with our families. You know, that's the point. There's no place like home.
The Statue of Liberty is the symbol of New York, and it also represents what we're talking about with the Access to Home program: liberty, independence, accessibility, allowing people to stay in their homes, to not have to go into institutions. Is about doing the very best that we can for people who need it the very most.